Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Looking forward to another one of our Values Jam Challenge sessions. Have you got the card deck there?
The cards here. What will we get today?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I'm shuffling. Okay, not a very good shuffle. I wouldn't make a croupier. Would you like to go for left hand, middle, or right hand?
I'd like to go left hand because left-handed is best.
Is it now? Okay, then. And what number card would you like to choose?
Could I go 3 from the bottom, please?
Yeah. Oh, beauty.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So what's beauty mean to you?
Beauty is something inside of you, and it's not what people might immediately think when they hear that word, which then some people might think about cosmetic or aesthetic beauty. It might be those things, but I think it's much bigger for me.
In what way?
Because there is beauty in nature, there's beauty in people, there's beauty in art and art forms. Yeah, that's why I think it's bigger, I think, really.
Yeah, I think because like when I saw the card, I think my immediate reaction was to think of visually beautiful things. But you're right, it is much broader, isn't it? Because you can say I had a beautiful meal, or that was a beautiful song, or whatever it is. But for me, the key thing that jumps out for me about beauty is how, it is a hackneyed phrase, I guess, but it is in the eye of the beholder. And beauty to one person is just completely different to beauty to somebody else. Yeah,
agreed. You reminded me, there was when I was at university in halls, my next door but one neighbour was a really lovely Iranian girl, and I remember saying to her one day, "Oh, I love your earrings," and she said to me, "You've got beautiful eyes." And I thought, oh, that's a funny thing to say, but actually it's a phrase, a kind of a phrase that they would use in the Iranian culture. So implying that my eyes are beautiful because they've seen something beautiful in somebody or something. And I thought that was a beautiful phrase or turn of phrase.
Yeah, it is actually. Because what they see.
Yeah.
So what about the metaphor bit then? What does it look like, sound like, feel like?
Well, what does it look like? Well, I think that's highly subjective. highly subjective because aesthetic beauty seems to change with fashion, doesn't it? As well. So for example, what people think is a beautiful face in a female person these days might be quite different to what was considered beautiful in the 16th century, even the 20th century, I dare say.
Yeah.
And younger people are choosing to alter their appearance cosmetically in order to match that kind of fashionable aesthetic of beauty.
Yeah, and this might get us into difficult waters here, because I'm thinking about women in particular, but I guess men do it as well. But when I see women with their lips all plumped up and obviously had lots of stuff done to their face, I just don't understand.
I personally don't understand it. Well, I understand it because they are aspiring to be like people in the public eye who they think are attractive. However, what makes me really, really sad, really extremely sad, is when I think about young women and men who are naturally young and beautiful in their own unique way, actually do this and alter themselves.
Yeah. And it comes back to what you said right at the beginning about beauty being something within. And if it strikes me that, you know, where this conversation has gone for me is if people had a better sense of their inner beauty, then perhaps they wouldn't be so preoccupied with their perceived outer beauty.
Absolutely. But you know, and it's maybe something that has been going on for a long time, you know, and it depends on what era you're from. You know, there are these external standards of beauty that people hold themselves to,
Yeah.
which is a shame. So therefore, since it's a fashion thing, it's a bit of a concern to me that, you know, if you make a cosmetic alteration to yourself and then the fashion changes, what happens then?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, tattoos are massively fashionable as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right now. And, you know, maybe one day they won't be. So then what do you do really? But I think I'm kind of, maybe I'm a little bit practical and whatnot, but in my home I tend to go with plain and neutral things that I can then accessorize, because then I'm, you know, a bit like you know, that it having your lips done, I'm not stuck with it. You know, if I don't like my cushions or my curtains, it's easy to change those, whereas if I bought a big flowery sofa and then I go off the pattern,
It's a good way to look at it.
yeah, I'm stuck with it, right?
Yeah.
So you know, so I wouldn't necessarily do a cosmetic thing unless it was kind of really important to me. But you know, I kind of respect people's right to do that if they want to. You know, if something's making them really unhappy, you know, they can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that's in my mind is about, it was what you were saying just now about the subjectivity of beauty, because I was thinking about when I asked you the question about like visual beauty, and I started to think about the answer, and I was thinking symmetry, for instance, is beautiful. But then I thought, well, hold on, what about abstract art? When that can be beautiful as well. And so you've got all of these really quite different things that can all be called beautiful. And so again, it comes back to what you were saying at the beginning. It's so broad. And I'm just trying to think of any other word that is actually applicable in so many different ways. It's like, I can't think of one right now, but it can just be applied so differently.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously kind of an important word. It's used in many different ways, but you know, beauty is a value. Yeah, there are people that definitely value kind of beautiful things, whether it's in kind of a person's appearance or a beautiful environment, and they create things that other people enjoy.
Yeah, and my colleague Liz, who runs the Sophrology Academy and used to be on UK Values Alliance, beauty is one of her values. I remember a couple of things that she gave as examples of her translating that into what she does. One was, I remember she was going to an event and she said, because it was my practice to celebrate beauty and choose something that I like to wear, she chose a particular, I think it was jewelry that she wore to an event. And at the event, somebody says, oh, I really like that. And she was just chuffed that she had made the choice to make a conscious decision about wearing something like that. And then the other one, she likes making fabric designs. And it must have been a values jam about beauty, actually. So what she said, that when she goes out walking in nature, she's going to take photographs of like the veins on a leaf with the sun behind it, for instance, and then use that as inspiration for the patterns that she works up for the clothes that she makes. That was a long time ago, actually, and this is the first time I've talked about this value since then.
There we go again. You see, the long-held memories and the neural connections are coming back. So, well, let me ask, and you know, you can be deep and meaningful, or you can be kind of a bit lighter with this, but where have you noticed a lack of beauty?
A lack of beauty. So I've learned playing Values Jam that you just need to go with what jumps into your head, even though it feels a bit weird. So lack of beauty for me, I don't know what this is. I've just had a picture in my mind of racehorses at an event of some sort, and then a donkey.
Oh.
And that poor donkey just looks scruffy as hell, and definitely isn't beautiful. Yeah, so that's my example, which I guess is not particularly deep and meaningful.
That's funny. Yeah, but actually, you know, I can see what you mean. Though the race horses, they're so well tended, aren't they? And they're shiny, and you see the muscles, and yeah, they are very, very beautiful and sleek and what have you. Yeah, and I was kind of being a bit flippant as well. I'm thinking like the 1970s fashion and furnishings weren't that beautiful, were they, on the whole, you know?
Well, orange plastic and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, orange and brown floral.
Oh yeah.
You know, things like that. And that he can learn something new about me. One of my first job was on a curtain stall on the indoor market.
Okay.
In the famous Tommyfield Market in Oldham. And there were lots of ready-made curtains, you know, cheaply available, and there were also, you could have ready, you know, bespoke ones made. But the senior citizen ladies used to come to the store and said, oh, you know, have you got anything in orange and brown with a bit of green in it? And you'd go, oh yeah, I've got just the thing for you. Here you go. It's like, lovely. Wasn't a beautiful pattern, and it wasn't a beautiful material, but they were happy with it. It did the job, and it provided the brightness they were looking for, but it wasn't my idea of beauty, you know. Yeah. Yeah. And those wallpapers that you see, you know, and you look in old photographs and, you know, your mum and dad, and you're like, what is that wallpaper? That's not beautiful.
Oh, you're reminding me of, so what era must this have been? I'm thinking probably around about 1976. And these shirts with massive collars and prints all over them. It's like, oh, and a pair of flares that were bigger than your shoes, and platform shoes, and then going to the Sunday disco thinking you look really great.
Well, we'll look forward to you digging out those old photographs, Alan. Dear me. Yeah.
And isn't it, so you talked there about the 70s, and when you were describing that, I was thinking about another era. So, for instance, I love Art Deco.
Oh, me too.
I just, it's amazing, and it stood the test of time so well. And so, what is it that makes that
beautiful lines and and actually that some of the stuff does have symmetry, but so actually some of the 1930s stuff was more utilitarian. Some people don't consider that beautiful, but I do personally. Yeah, I really do. And in fact, right outside my office here, there's a 1930s Art Deco. We have it as a kind of a drinks trolley.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was used, whether they would have served tea on it, but yeah, we've got bottles of gin and nice cocktail glasses. Yeah.
There's something else about beauty that this has just reminded me of as well. There's something about craftsmanship that is an important part of beauty to me.
Yes.
So you shared something about your first job. This is nothing to do with first job, but for my last birthday, I had a chess set made, and not a chess set, a chess board made. So I bought a 1920s chess set and then had an absolutely beautiful chessboard made. And I've played a few times since, so that was October. And yeah, I just sit there kind of smiling and really enjoying just playing on this beautiful board. And so what am I trying to say here? There's something about beauty that manifests itself in a physical, it's a feeling.
I was just, because it gives you a feeling, doesn't it? And I mean, I'm a highly kinesthetic person anyway. I'm much more kinesthetic than I am visual.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, there are things about symmetry and things about the grouping of objects, the texture, the feel, it is quite all encompassing really. But there is something very lovely, isn't there, about when you've got an object, an item that looks beautiful and it means something to you.
Yeah. And actually, you're reminding me now as well. Do you watch The Voice and programs like that?
No, but I'm familiar with them.
Okay. So if I hear a great voice, I cry. It makes me cry. Just hearing a beautiful voice. So there was that thing that we talked about, the feeling just now. There's something about the connection between beauty and emotion that I don't think I've thought about that before.
Yeah, and beautiful food. I mean, I am a massive foodie and a huge, gigantic fan of MasterChef, The Professionals, and The Great British Menu. And kind of the bucket list is rapidly turning into let's go to a Michelin-starred restaurant. And now, we've been to the MasterChef Professional Winners restaurant in Manchester.
Okay.
Shout out to the lovely Simon Wood from my hometown. He's not Michelin-starred yet, but we've got 2 to go to. And, when you look at their food, it is a thing of beauty.
It is.
And it tastes beautiful. I mean, the food I prepare, well, if I just say to you, I'm a great one-pot cook, tastes nice, but I won't win any prizes for what it looks like on the plate, I promise you that.
Yeah.
You'll get a nice curry, a nice chili, a nice stir fry or a risotto or a paella or whatever, but you would definitely not say. And we just found out that you can actually go to one of the restaurants and have a cookery experience with the Michelin star chefs. And I just started to giggle to myself thinking, well, mine won't end up looking like theirs. One of them actually, Lisa Goodwin Allen from Northcote, shared a picture this week, and it was actually, she created a lemon inside a glass sphere.
Wow.
The whole thing was edible.
Yeah.
It was stunning.
Yeah.
That's a word that kind of comes out when you talk about beauty. It was stunning. It really was a work of art, you know.
Yeah, I love beautiful food as well. And I was lucky enough to work in that industry. So I worked with the hotel chef who got the first Michelin star in London, and then worked with another chef at the Café Royal when we won a Michelin star for that restaurant.
Wow.
And working with people like that, I was just totally in awe of these great people. And actually, I'm not sure this is very much to do with beauty, but it is to do with food. And this guy, Peter Kronberg, who is no longer with us, was just such a beautiful man as well, actually. And whenever a commie, so you know that a commie chef is the most junior chef in the kitchen. And at Intercontinental, we used to have commie chefs coming from all over the world. And Peter, although he was a renowned chef, he would always greet that guy on their first day to the kitchen. And he was always asking them about what their mum cooked them at home. He was just curious, you know, about all these different international cuisines. And the other thing I remember about him as well was that he liked kind of nearly burnt crispy bacon. Which,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food. I'm with you. So that must be on our ValuesJam business bucket list for us to go and enjoy a beautiful meal sometime.
Sounds fantastic. I'm definitely up for that. That can definitely go in the plan. Definitely. And since kind of we chose ValuesJam because we love its connection with music and jamming music, actually music can be very beautiful, can't it? And you know, it's obvious to think about classical music actually, and the absolute beauty in how that's constructed. You cannot, you know, when you're listening to it, you can almost see it. You can see the waves of music, and that's a thing of, it can be a thing of beauty, particularly for me, things like the you know, the piano concertos and the Debussy and the Rachmaninoff type of thing, and you know, just
I'm going to preempt our last question, if I may, because you've just made me, I want to listen to a piece of music that you just reminded me of, which is, what's the pianist's name? Anyway, he's on an iceberg.
Oh.
I'll send you the link, or I might look it up while I'm listening to you. Yeah, so it's a beautiful piece of music.
So I think what I'm taking from this is that you can experience beauty through a number of many different media, if you like. So it could be food, it could be objects, it could be art, it could be words. Can be beautiful. Words in poetry can be beautiful.
Yeah.
As you will definitely attest, because you are, you know, so passionate about poetry, and I love it too. And yeah, it's this is why I come back to the very, very beginning. Beauty, well, it's easy to think it's that counter in Boots where you buy your face creams and your lipsticks and things, but it's not. It's much, much, much more, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
So I'm going to listen to that track, and it's I don't know that I'll say this right, but it's Ludovico Einaudi playing. It's a Greenpeace historic performance on the Arctic Ocean. So I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do.
What are you encouraged to do differently as a result of our conversation?
Well, I suppose it goes along with what I am trying to do a lot more of, and be really mindful and be in the moment of appreciating beauty when I see it.
Yeah. So the next time you reach for your bottle of gin, you're going to appreciate the cabinet.
Yeah, maybe I am. And I'd have to share this with you because I don't think I mentioned it. I created something that I think is pretty beautiful that people have been really complimentary about. And because I went to a painting class, an online painting class, and it's turned out really well. I mean, it's a Highland cow, which I think in their own right are a beautiful animal,
Yeah.
a beautiful specimen. And if you had told me at the beginning of that class that I could turn out a decent painting of a Highland cow, I would have laughed in your face. But it's there and it's giving us all such great pleasure. It's sitting there in the kitchen now and everyone's like, wow, did you really do that? Yeah, I actually did. I didn't know I had it in me. I really didn't. But, you know.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I've been speaking recently to a lady in California there's a guy in Berlin and myself. And because of the success of the Global Poetry Showcase last year, I've had in my mind for some time, what about an art event of some kind around values? So she didn't discover that she was an artist until she was in her mid-40s. And that's now part of her business. So she creates art and also clothing with her art on it.
Wow.
So
I wonder if I could completely change my life.
Why not? Why not? Well, she did. She was in corporate communications. There you go.
No.
Yes. And she still does a bit of it, actually.
Yeah.
Again, I'll send you a link to her website. But anyway, we expect that we're going to be launching, we don't know what it's called yet. It's something like Art and Values or Values and Art. And we're just thinking about what the branding is going to look like. But we're going to invite communities to create a piece of artwork that represents either a specific value like beauty, what does beauty look like in art?
Wow, how amazing. I mean, honestly, if I had to associate a value with that little painting, I would have to say it would be self-belief. Because and the subtitle is the Iron Brew Highland Coo, because I chose to create a red one, whereas the instructor did a blonde one. So it's Iron Brew coloured.
That's a brilliant story.
So,
well, ValuesJam's done it again. That's been great.
Nice way to end the day. It's been a busy one. So great stuff. Thank you very much, Alan.
All right. Cheers. Have a good evening.
Bye.